What's up, family? This your favorite cousin, Rich. And is degeneracy celebrated in the black community? Again, degeneracy, is it celebrated in the black community? I look around, I look at our media, our topics we tend to discuss either online or in person. I look at the way that we handle ourselves, the things that we celebrate, and on the scale of degeneracy and high level functioning, it seems like it tends to lead to the side of degeneracy. I know I'm not the only one, and I'm not saying every black person celebrates degeneracy, but it seems like a major portion of us celebrate degeneracy. And if that's not true, it seems like the portion of us that doesn't celebrate degeneracy doesn't necessarily speak out. Again, doesn't necessarily speak out about how degeneracy ruins our community, ruins us as a people. Like I said, we take a step back and we look at our media. From our TV shows, our music, everything we find entertaining. On the scales, it leans towards degeneracy. The Zeus networks, all the rappers, all the R&B artists, it all leads towards degeneracy. Now, I know a lot of it could be systematic in a sense. I do know that. But we have to stop saying that things are so systematic and then we continue to pour into the system. It's like we say, oh, it's a fire over there. We're burning on fire. And then we just go get more gas and pour gas onto it. Like I say, I love entertainment. I love music. I love movies. I love all that. But number one, you have to understand that that is not reality. You have to understand that art is supposed to imitate life, not life imitating art. And where we are now, our lives are imitating art. And that's a big issue. And number two, you have to have balance. You can't just drink sodas all day and not drink no water. You can't drink juice all day and not have no water. You can't eat McDonald's all day and not have a salad. We have to have balance. So I'm not saying do away with this. I'm not saying do away with that. I'm not saying we shouldn't have no kind of entertainment or nothing. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, do we celebrate degeneracy to the point where we neglect having balance, where we neglect things that can uplift us, where we neglect intelligence? That's what I'm speaking on. Like I said, in our community, somebody comes home from prison, they get celebrated. Somebody comes home from college, it's crickets. You know? And it's really true. A celebrity gets arrested, and it's free this person, free them, free them, free them, free them, free them. And somebody goes to college, we don't say, congratulations, what you need? Is there any way I can help? But yet we're going to throw money on somebody's books in prison for something that they probably did. Or something that they didn't have to do, but they chose to do. See, to me, that celebrates degeneracy. To me, when it's a young kid looking at that, he says, wow, I get celebrated when I go to prison versus when I go to college. Why would I go to college when everybody celebrates the person who goes to prison? See? You open up topics that get the mind going. We shun that, but we talk about the gossip. We all ears. Yet one can help us move forward and one holds us back. And like I said before, they say that being tuned in or deeply tuned in to entertainment is a form of coping with PTSD. So I can understand that. They say laughter is a form of coping from PTSD, so I can understand it. But at what point do we continuously cope? At what point do we continuously take this medicine that does nothing but leave us in a delusional state that we're doing okay. I take a step back and, like I say, I look at other communities, look at other cultures, and they do not accept and they do not bask in the degeneracy to the levels that we do. We let our kids watch all these reality TV shows and shows that rot the brain, and by the time they become full functioning adults, they're behaving like the things that they saw on TV. It's just like a kid who watches wrestling all day. You ask him what he wants to be, he's going to say a wrestler. So he starts mimicking the wrestlers and doing the wrestling moves and doing all this and all that. So what do you think is going to happen to the young kid who always listens to rap music and has no balance? What you going to think is going to happen to the little girl who watches reality TV shows all day and sees the girls acting rambunctious all day and ignorant and ghetto? What you think she's going to mimic when she gets older? What you think she's going to mimic when she goes to school? Just like the little boy who used to watch the wrestling. And now we have parents who don't even want to parent no more. They think parenting is giving their kids an iPad, sitting their kids in front of the television, and letting that raise their kids. And you don't know what they putting in these TV shows. You don't know what they putting on these iPads. You don't know what they putting on YouTube. You're not monitoring it at all. You're not watching it with your kids. You just put it in front of your kids for that to entertain your kids, for that to raise your kids instead of you doing the actual job. Now you don't know what kind of secret messages and hidden messages that they put into these cartoons or TV shows or what. To me, that's a form of degeneracy. Not actual parenting is a form of degeneracy. Being tuned in to too much entertainment is a form of degeneracy. Not celebrating intelligence is a form of degeneracy. Promoting this thug before we promote a thinker is a form of degeneracy. Like I say, is it because as a community we find it comfortable? As a community, is this why we shun the intelligent? Because we love degeneracy so much? We don't want to think. We don't want to move forward. We don't want to do better. That's why I said previously that as black people, do we not like self-improvement? Because if you like self-improvement, you will not tether yourself. If you love self-improvement or you are on the self-improvement journey, you will not attach yourself to what? Degeneracy. There's no way. One pushes you forward and one pushes you back. It's a contradiction. We look at how we mate, how we choose our mating partners, and it's not in the form of us moving forward. We pick them based off body parts. Literally, we pick our life partners, the people we choose to split our finances with, split our life with, build our life with, off body parts. Do they got a big this? Do they got a big that? How does this look? How that look? We mate off body parts. That is the biggest form of degeneracy. And yet we wonder why we can't stay in a healthy relationship. We wonder why we cheat. We wonder why we lie. We wonder why we manipulate. Because you only got with somebody for the physical. A form of degeneracy. Not actually analyzing and looking at who somebody is and what they can bring to the table. We're not doing that. Not even based off how they make you feel. We're not even doing that. It's just how that person looks or how they look on their arm. Degeneracy. I say so many forms of degeneracy when we step back and look at our community and the things that we accept that it's sad. It's sad. And like I said, I can sit back and say it's systematic. I can say that. I can sit back and say that all day. But at a certain point, what point do we feed into it? It's just like McDonald's. Yeah, we could say McDonald's is not healthy. We could say that all day. But if we continuously drive through the drive-through line and get a number three, at what point does it stop being their fault and it's our fault? When they say you know better, you do better. So at what point do we know better in order for us to do better, for us to be accountable? At what point? We love the apps for the gossip. We love the T app because it's about gossip, but it don't move us forward. And I said, I don't know. If you ask me, do we love degeneracy? I say yes. Because it's comfortable. It's easy. It doesn't let us get the ball moving forward. It keeps us stuck. And sad to say, it seems like our community loves to be stuck. Our community loves to be comfortable. Our community don't like to be challenged. Then we don't accept or like anybody who challenges us, who challenges our theories, who challenges the way we live. We don't like or accept any of that. Anybody who makes us feel less than, anybody who puts up a mirror, we don't accept them. Yet, like I always say, these are the people that's going to help you move forward. These are the people that's going to help you fix your communities. Again, like I said before as well, and these are the people that we shun. So is it just me? And I'm not saying on an individual basis, but as a collective, does it seem that we embrace degeneracy? The majority of the topics that we talk about, the majority of the topics that we choose, even the perspective of how people look at us, because that is a major factor. We always say it doesn't matter what other people think, but it does matter what other people think. So when people get a glimpse of us, does it seem like we as a community embrace degeneracy? Thinking on an individual level is what creates this separation, which creates a divide, which creates us not moving forward when we always think on a individualistic level. Oh, not me. I don't celebrate degeneracy. Oh, not me. I don't date this. Oh, not me. I don't do that. It doesn't help us because as it's always been said, is that majority rules. So the majority of us, do we embrace degeneracy more than intellect, more than moving the ball forward? Again, like I said, sadly, I believe we do. Anyways, let me know how y'all feel about this. This your favorite cousin Rich. Y'all be safe out there. I appreciate y'all for listening. Love and blessings.